Good morning, good morning, good morning. We'll be starting in a few minutes, as you can see by the timer. Today I just want to tell you about some exciting stuff that's happening with the Brothers of Legacy. We have opened up a membership program, and if you click the link that's right at the bottom, boom, you can be a part of that. We got a lot of background stuff we want to share with you guys, a lot of projects that we got going on. Just the full direction of the Brothers of Legacy, and we want you to be a part of that. So we have opened up a membership. We have different levels, and it gives you an opportunity to invest in Brothers of Legacy, while at the same time learning about what we are learning to do as well. So you can really be a part of this journey. So within that, you'll be part of our Facebook group. You'll get some apparel. You'll have an opportunity to be on screen with us during Freestyle Fridays. It is a plethora of things that are possible just being a part of this membership, and it's growing. So as we grow, you get to grow with us. So before we get started, before we join, make sure you go to that link, hit the link, and within that minute, sign up, be a part. And of course, we're going to give you a shout out for everyone that joins, and be a part of this growth, because it is important that you guys are part of this journey. It's not just about us, it's about you going in the direction that God has set us to go in. So again, hit that link, be a part, and we appreciate you. We are coming into our next season. This is season 2. We have come out of the breaks, and we are now ready to enjoy another all of the stuff that's happening around the world politically, in our communities and things of that nature. So these conversations are going to be taken up a notch. So be a part of that. So we appreciate you as well. All right, let's get into it. Let's enjoy the show. That's it. So we'll see you on the inside. Take care. Bam.
What it do?
What up? What up? What up? What up? Yes, welcome again to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy, where we don't stand out, we stand up. I am Brother A.D. Walker, and to my left, right, is Dwayne Goodson. Pastor should be in the building in a minute. Yes, indeed. Lisa, blessed to you as well. Cheryl, early in here. Good morning.
Good. How you guys doing? God bless.
And Mama McCory, as always, blessings
to you.
Always. Greetings.
Blessings, Mama.
All right, let's see. We're going to get into it. I don't know if Dwayne is just freezing on my end, but he keeps freezing up ever so often. I mean, you're good right now. You're moving around.
Okay, good.
Hit me with the robot. He said, see, yes, indeed, sure. Appreciate it. And all my podcast listeners, thank you guys for rocking with us and hanging with us as well, and listening in your cars.
AT&T internet
podcast device is going on. All right, what's up, Cole? Good morning. Good morning. All right, Erica, love. You got a few minutes. Awesome. All right, let's kick it off. And blessings to you as well. Let's kick it off. Let's get it going. We got some stuff to talk about as always. All right, so hang tight. Stay tuned. I didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Good morning, everybody. All right. So we got a few things we're going to discuss. Hey, did you hear about New Zealand and the vaccine?
I haven't.
I just heard it this morning. I was listening to CNN radio. Breaking news. I guess it happened overnight, because they're in a different time zone. So I think I'm not sure. I know a 94-year-old got it, just got it. And,
the vaccine?
Huh?
Vaccine?
Oh, break it, breaking up.
Am I still here? Am I
Okay,
still here?
yeah, you still here? What'd you say?
Okay. You said a 93-year-old got the vaccine or
Yeah,
got COVID?
no, got the vaccine. Now, when I learned about the Pfizer vaccine, because everybody got something different, theirs comes in pieces. So you got to do 3 doses. Like they said this the first one, then there's a second one, and then there's a third one, and then you should be resistant to COVID. Based on the news, that's what CNN. This is the news. This is not coming directly from Pfizer. This is what the news said. Yeah. So I was like, okay, interesting, interesting. 91, 91. Was it 91 or was it 94? You sure? I'm all right. I'm gonna rock with you, Miss Knight. I might be totally wrong. Slow roll process, right? You saw that? Okay, awesome, awesome.
She
Cheryl says
ain't
she saw
got
that.
time to be, look, she ain't got time to be slow rolling it at 90 anything. At 90 anything. You don't have
Like I
time
need
to be slow rolling
to.
it.
I'll be back tomorrow. Then I'll be back tomorrow.
Right.
Dr. Chris, good morning, my friend. Good
What's
morning.
going on, brother?
Oh man, so yeah, that I just wanted to share that. I didn't have all the details, so couldn't make it a topic because it just busted out. But today I kind of want to talk about a few things. But the first thing, what have we learned this year? Like with everything going on, even going into January, what was your goal, and then how things shifted, and what kind of things have you learned in an outward sense, and what kind of things have you learned in an internal sense?
You really want to onion?
Let's go and unpack some of that. Not all of it. You can pack some of it.
Well, what I learned was simple.
Okay.
People are simple. People don't. You can put the truth in their face, and they look, and it's not just on a political level.
Mm-mm.
I've seen it on a spiritual level this
Right.
year.
No,
I've
you're
seen it
right.
on a political level this year.
Right.
Like,
Right.
look,
Right.
you, I've seen Christians get more upset about Donald Trump than
Right.
realizing that just because a church building has closed, church hasn't closed.
Right.
I've seen people come into this year, 2020 the year perfect vision.
Right.
Well, 2020 is perfect vision. We
Right.
see exactly what has always been. A lot of change. People believe everything. That's what I've learned the most this year. You can see a person get murdered on your, like, by cops who, and other cops do nothing, and you still say that there isn't an issue when there's 5 or 6 other within a couple weeks by cops.
Right.
I mean, it's astronomical how you can see that and still say that, well, problem. Um, then at the same time, I've seen that the world to be what the world is, and we see it play out in cities like Chicago. Unfortunately, there's so many people that are dying.
Right.
Um, it's perspective. I've seen perspective this year.
Okay.
And that's what I've learned. That there's a perspective for everything. Everything's not as cut and dry as it seems. Not everything can be changed by people talking and feeling good about a subject. I think I've seen more that, and that's what I've realized. I've looked through this year and I've had perspective change on a lot of things.
Right. So let me get some comments real quick. Good morning, Elder McNair. He said people are racist and others are simple. He said the great heart exposure. The great heart exposure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree with the information in your face. And like I said, not just political. And honestly, it flows on both sides. It flows from different directions when you present different ideas, like this is facts. Like some facts you don't like, oh, I can't stand it, but you can't walk away from what is true. Oh, you're right. Change brings change, right? Right. And and I've learned that, as much as certain places seem to be ready to pivot, when this corona hit, they weren't really ready to pivot. Some tried to stay the same in the midst of like, yo, everything is changing. Do you realize everything is changing? One of my favorite restaurants closed down, and I didn't understand like how they closed, but then
Hold on,
they just
y'all
opened. So
going too
maybe
far.
and I'm like, they couldn't pivot, get some delivery because they had some great breakfast. Like I was like, I don't know what happened, but like they've closed, and maybe something happened to the owners or something of that nature. But he said the pandemic hasn't changed anything for you. Um,
But it really has.
oh, freezing. Oh, totally froze. Pastor's in the building. Great morning to you,
Yes, sir.
Pastor.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. All right, I'm gonna take Dwayne out. He'll be back when he when he give out off his frozen screen. So we're talking about what did we learn this year, and you're
Yeah.
probably listening. Um, for you, what kind of I guess revelations or things that you've learned Frozone. That's good. That's good. What kind of things have you discovered in this year?
For me, it's I think when you've had life riddled with dynamics, as most of us have, I think you take it all in stride, man. You
Right.
know, I just when you, but I think it's important for people. We talked about it yesterday. Why it's important to have a relationship with God.
Right.
You
Right.
know, there when you really in tight communion with God, there really are no surprises, right?
Right.
You recognize what's going on in the world. God gives you discernment of
Right.
the times that you're in. So you can say that it's ugly. You can say that it's uncomfortable. You can say it's frustrating. You can say it's disappointing. But you can also give God all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise,
Right.
right? Uh, it's amazing to be where we are,
Right.
thinking about how the year started,
Right.
you know. But and it's almost miraculous, right? But there are those who are struggling in a way that they've never struggled before.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Personally, I have been in struggle in my life. I've been in deep struggle. I've been sick. I've been healthy. I've
Right.
been. I've had a fat bank account. I've had a very lean bank account.
Right.
You know, uh, I've had ups and downs. So
Right.
for me, it's just another year of serving and giving God glory because God tells us what's coming. You may
Right.
not know that it's a pandemic that's going to have you sheltering in place, but you know that trials come and trials go.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so I don't. I think it's just we just go deeper. I can't really say, "Ooh, this year I learned." This year I learned what I learned last year. God is still God.
Right.
You know, people just open with how they feel now, good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah. I agree with Sister Tara, but I think that there's just more exposure of the same thing,
I got you. I got
right?
you. But do you feel like with the shifting climate, that people are examining and being more open about how they feel in a sense? I mean, I get where people saying that people have been the same. Like this, like we said, this is the great exposure that we're just seeing more of it. And with the level of, I guess, the political climate has given people a pass to really express all of what they feel, instead of filtering. They're filtering less and
Yeah,
speaking more.
yeah.
Um, and I guess in some sense it's a great thing because it's like now I really know where you stand. I
But
really know your
and,
position.
and, and see, that's what I was saying before. AT&T internet jacked me up. Yeah, I'm plugging AT&T internet, by the way. Um, and I got fiber too. Go figure. But what I was saying is things haven't changed.
Right.
Perspective. If 2020 did, it changed perspective.
Right.
Like you, police and black, on black, unarmed black violence.
Right.
That it's happened every decade, almost every year of probably most of our lives.
Right.
If you look at 90, it the police and black male, it doesn't look any different.
Right.
If you go back to 1820 when we were slaves, it's probably even worse.
Right.
So that hasn't changed. A lot of the systematic oppression hasn't changed. What's changed, or the perspective that's changed, is some of the voices and how we viewed some of the voices. Because
Right.
before Donald Trump was president, even though we might not have been his boy, we might not have. We might even argue about him and look at, he was the most quoted person in hip hop culture.
Right.
Um, so I mean, before he became president, black people, even though he was the same dude that took out front page ads, even though he was the same dude that said, "If you're black, I'm trying to keep you out of my stuff,
Okay.
off my
Right.
property," we still
Right.
fought and rode for him. The
Right.
difference is we got a different perspective of who he is, and that perspective, with all the other tipping points that we always have. If
Right.
you look at the 126 race riots in America since 1621, the 126, most of them started with the killing of somebody who we deem, okay, that's just too far.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what, and so all we're seeing is that tipping point. That tipping point, or that ignition point, what happens is there's an explosion, and everybody start to see things differently. Sometimes people who are right in the weeds, they
Right.
step back and they can see the grass, and sometimes the people that are in the grass are up close and personal in the trees. And I've seen it happen with me.
Right.
Because I think you guys can remember when we first started having conversations, political conversations. I didn't defend. I said I don't think he's racist. Remember me uttering those words?
Wait, say that one more
So,
time.
yeah, when he broke up.
What I said was, I don't know if you guys remember me when we first started having political conversations, but those
Hmm.
conversations were, I don't think Donald Trump's racist. I said I think he's an elitist, and then I said
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that he was following the money.
Right.
And then my perspective changed, because I was like, hold on. Regardless of what I think about you, you are the president. You
Right.
are the voice of a whole bunch of people who are
Right.
racist. And if you was responsible, so perspective changed. And I think that's what happened. You got people, regardless of what you want to call it. Some people
Hmm.
call it being woke. Some
Right.
people call it being conscious. Some people call it being informed. Some
Right.
people call it changing your demographic, because I went from a military dude working in a military community, which was mixed demographic, and life was different. And the way I saw life was completely different, to
Right.
being a civilian, to being a cop, and then seeing how, wait a minute, the life that I was living before, same life that I'm living here. So
Right.
when I was in the woods, I didn't see the forest, because all I saw was a tree in front of me.
Right.
And then I changed my location, or I changed something about me, changed something, a situation, whatever it may be, it changes, and then it puts you in a position like, wow, that's different.
Right.
I, for me, what made it real was when I got pulled over as a police officer. I'm a police
Right.
officer
Right.
in uniform,
Right.
driving a high end car in a place where probably a dark looking person shouldn't have been driving a high end car, and
Right.
I get pulled over in uniform. I'm nervous, and I'm
Wow.
in uniform.
Right. Right.
So if
Right.
I felt that way, what the
Imagine.
dude that smell like weed on the corner, who ain't got nothing, but he just, how is he gonna? So yeah, perspectives change.
Right. Cole said there's a line in Temptation miniseries. Success makes you the person you really are. I'll tweak the line just a tad and say that adversity also makes you the person you really are. Yes,
Fact.
indeed. Cole also
I
said,
think it
look at
really just exposes. It doesn't make you. It just exposes you.
exposes. Right, right. Look at
I
how
love
many
that. I
people
love that, Cole.
think their civil rights are being infringed upon because they're adamant about not wearing masks. McNair says no change, just a realization of way some people's systems, or way people systems really are.
Yes,
Let's
exposure.
see. Let's see. Blessed brothers, greetings from South Carolina. My son listened a little before he goes back to class at 10. Awesome. Awesome.
Was
Love that.
good. Was
Yes,
good.
indeed. Listening. Nicole said, as for Trump and hip hop, he's the perfect Pinterest board for rappers. Brash, arrogant, wealthy, powerful, extravagant, and charismatic. Oh, let's see. Also, he said once they start to see he also was a narcissist, an elitist, and absolutely brain dead. Trump seems to become the ideal to many people. All right. He said, I'll comment over here. And he said, year of exposure. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. A lot
All
of,
right there.
and I think, I think not only an exposure for us to see outwardly, I think inwardly as well. You know, being home, everything slowing down, kind of putting a perspective on your own life, you know, and what's happening around you. Relationships being exposed where two people are are in a sense forced to be together longer than they usually are throughout the week, you know. Kind of a test of what is our relationship at, where we at, where we, haven't, we've never been in this space for this amount of time, we've always kind of wanted, but now we're kind of forced to be in this space, and a perspective of what does our relationship really look like, have we just been passing ships, anniversaries, birthdays, nights out, and not really having much more, but now we're actually in the same space trying to build something, or just trying to interact more than we have in the past 10 years, some maybe 20, because like I said, the pandemic for some have shut everything down. If they're in the healthcare, field, granted, they're still passing each other even more so. But if you're in a field where, like a car dealership or things where it's slowed down and now you're home more, so I think a lot of the exposure has been outward and inward as well. Um,
But and
yeah,
since while Terry comment is up there, the exposures keep people be doing the most and haven't mastered their stuff.
right,
Um, before he even made that comment, I was going to speak on the exposure because I think some even the way we look at things is so my perspective, and maybe you disagree or agree. But I just want to put some clarity. Most people put a negative connotation on exposure
hmm,
because
yeah,
normally when we're talking about exposing somebody, oh, the the married dude sleeping with that woman, or this person been stealing money from this organization for all
Right.
this time. No, no,
right,
no, no. That's a type of exposure. But exposure, all it means is to make visible.
right,
That's all it means.
right,
So it's easy, and we all do it. We focus, and I'm gonna take a note from Pastor's page here. We all focus on the negative a lot because, like everything else, is newsworthy. It gets buzz. It becomes viral.
right,
Um, but let's talk about exposure in the truest sense, making visible.
right,
Like there's a lot that's going on in this during this time that don't get made visible because it's not newsworthy, so to speak.
right,
God
right,
hasn't stopped healing. People's lives hasn't stopped changing. People are getting a better understanding of who God is. Relationship, and not in a negative tone, because
right,
churches are they're important, but it's not as important as the relationship with God. And with church doors being closed, some people who put on a facade in areas, not saying that they was exposed because they wasn't real, but what we did see, we started to see the difference between gold plated and 24 karat.
okay, you're right,
I mean, so there's exposure that's never going to get spoken about on anybody's huge platform, but exposure, all it means is to make Pastor, and I know you're tired of hearing this, and if I step on a nerve, I apologize. But like exposure for me was seeing the strength of this man. That was exposure. And whether you know it or not, sir, the exposure of who were tough times, it encouraged some that watch this show all the time. That was exposure
right,
because that's something that's real and measurable too now because it's been made visible.
right,
So I think sometimes we got to look for the that we pass up because this one's got a little more punch to it and more people might watch or more people might listen. It's easy to have those conversations and they're fun conversations. But we gotta make sure that we rightly divide this thing and talk about some of the things that have been exposed Because, like I said, sir, your faith during undoubtedly one of the toughest times of your life,
Right.
your
Right.
faith exposed, encouraged multiple people.
Right.
Amen. I've learned that because it's painful, right? But one thing that the Lord has shared with me is that whenever we start, to your point, Dwayne, whenever we start talking about going to the next level, right? What do we equate going to the next level with? You know what gets people excited? What gets people excited is when you tell them you're going to the next level. You're about
All
to
right.
get yours.
He's about to
It's
get you.
about to, you're about to
Right.
come. There's a shift happening in
I
your
love the
life.
shift. I love the shift.
Yeah, yeah. And we talk about those things, and God is getting ready to do something on your behalf, and we
Right.
do all of these things, and all of that gets the amens and the yeah, that's me, that's right. God, yeah, I'm about to go higher. I'm about to, we do
Right.
all of that, but we never think about the cost of going to the next level,
Right.
right? What I love about the AD's vision with this platform, I didn't want to do it at first. You guys know that.
Right.
I didn't want to do it. But when I started doing it, I was like, wow, it's a little different, because
Right.
as preachers, we're always preparing for the next message.
Right. Right.
Right. We're constantly in study. We're in our lab,
Right.
and we're preparing for the next message. What is the Lord getting ready to say?
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned in my testimony is in my life, I don't preach what I heard.
Right.
I preach what I've lived.
Right.
Now I hear from God, but I don't preach what I preach what I hear from God, but I don't preach what I heard on the rumor mill.
Right. Right.
Right. I don't preach current events.
Right.
I preach what I've lived. I don't preach anybody else's testimony. I preach my own.
Right.
And what I've learned over my life is I have not found a subject that I can't preach yet.
We doing right. Right.
Right. Some would say, what does that mean? It means I've made a lot of mistakes in my life.
Right.
It means I've had a lot of dynamics. And this platform, you can't prepare for this.
Right.
What I love about this is it doesn't matter what my accomplishments have been in life.
Right.
This is just us. This is a couple of brothers having a conversation, and some would argue that I'm exposing too much of myself as a pastor.
Right.
Right? Because I've had people say that to me. You don't need to be on there every day and all of that. You need to, be careful who you expose yourself to. And I'm like, well, isn't that the purpose?
Come on now.
Right.
Right.
So when you say things like that, like you guys see my children come in here and
Right. Yep.
my dog, my wife jumps on here, my mother's on here,
Right. Right.
And
Right.
I think it's important that people recognize that I have a regular life.
Right.
You understand? My purpose is to preach the gospel, is to be instant in season and out of season. But the greatest part about this is everybody listening on here have become my friends.
Right. Right. Right.
Y'all in my business,
Right.
right? You know what a good day is, what a bad day is, because you see me pretty much every morning.
Every day. Right.
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 You understand? So
Right.
So when you talk about exposure, Dwayne, that's what we're doing. And what's great is I'm not any different than any other person on this platform.
Right.
Because we all in here together.
Right.
Amen.
The greatest part about it. So you're right. We all get to share.
Cole said, let's see, let's start here. Terry said there is a difference between 24 karat and gold plated. I love that. Pressure brings about exposure. That's a wonderful word, Pastor, right on the money. Absolutely. Ash said, I agree. Jazz says real and relatable. Ash said the truth should set you free, but you don't get a say in which truth will be exposed. And said, oh my gosh, hey, Jazz, that's good. My Periscope froze. I had to come back in. All right. That what makes you such a wonderful shepherd, Pastor. Let's see. I prefer a transparent pastor. Richard said, Pastor Brain, I guess Brian is a man on righteous fire.
Let me breathe.
Right, oh, brain. Oh, let's see. A funny thing is, man, I've been around pastors who's exposed more of themselves than you have. I love the fact you demonstrate that you are a man on a daily basis. Right, right. I think it's that dailiness that we come in here. And trust me, this is no no big show, no big production. We just who we are.
Right.
And we talk about our topics based on from each one of perspectives, and that's what I love about it, because each one comes from a different place. We got different history. No matter how similar things may seem, we all experience things differently. Each one of us share our perspective, and coming into this year has helped us shape our message even more. And show, and we can kind of see our revelations and the places that we come from, and the things that we've gained. The knowledge that you gained, the wisdom that you gained, and we've made mistakes this year too. So, and trust, there's so much more that we've learned, and we can speak upon based on the experience. So I love the exposure factor that has happened. It's been challenging at times, but revealing, and it's relieving also. At that same moment, it's a non-scripted, non-stage, just honest. Yeah. Definitely no scripts here. So real quick, we're gonna take a quick break. Tonight, 7:30, we have Pastor Brian McCory in the building. STCM. We'll be right back. Make sure you follow. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm gonna run that ad too in a moment. Sisters of Legacy tonight as well. Solomon's Temple. Yeah. It's a wonderful pastor, wonderful father and pastor friend. He's like a favorite uncle.
Yeah, the one that, but I forget birthdays.
and Christmas.
Right. All right. Oh, let me see something. Boom. What did I? So that's such an obvious. Sometimes you have questions and they're just so obvious. But what do you guys consider like? Oh, let me ask you this: is this possible? I put popularity over impact, but over impact. Is it possible to be popular, very popular, and just as impactful?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think that charisma is popular.
Mm-hmm.
Charisma is impactful, right?
Gotcha.
So when you have those traits, those characteristics, I think, it's going to attract attention.
Right.
You can be cute and impactful.
Right.
I think anything popular automatically comes with a degree of impact. With popularity comes influence. With influence comes the ability to change somebody, which is low impact, high impact. That it's, you look at anything popular, from trap music to mega pastors to cars. You show me popular, and I'll show you the impact that it has on it in the area that it has. Like they go.
Adolf Hitler was popular,
right,
and impactful.
Very impactful. To the
Dave Koresh was popular and impactful.
Jim Jones
was popular.
Okay. Okay. Wait, hold on. Okay, let's shift it then. Though, can, because to me, evil is good. So
Good.
if you could have the bad, right? The bad is, and for lack of a better way of putting it, bad is easier. Like right now, if we all get on some ugly spot and black men ways of thinking and very stereotypical, we could shift this whole conversation. Everybody follows, yeah, black men, but staying in the positive zone, right? Can you be just as popular and in a popular sense, not popular, be popular in a positive sense, impactful, sticking to your guns, staying on point with your messaging, not swaying off of it. And in a preacher sense, but in a community sense, like doing the right thing, but being able to stay popular.
So that makes me wonder or question if you're talking about truth and popularity.
Right. There you go. That's probably.
Can you stick to the truth,
Right.
which is impactful, and remain popular?
Yes.
Right. And I would say the answer to that is yes.
Okay. Yes.
Popularity is a relative term,
Okay.
right? Because you can be popular amongst the people who think like you, amongst the people who don't.
Hey, Pastor, you sound like R2D2.
It's true, isn't it?
No, we couldn't hear you. You was like,
Oh, you can hear me?
Right.
I was saying that you can be popular amongst people who think like you,
Okay.
and unpopular amongst people who don't. So popularity is a relative term.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Now,
I got you.
if you want to talk about popularity as it relates to a regional or national
Right.
level,
Right.
then I struggle with this. This is what I struggle with.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like telling the truth and shaming the devil is not as popular as playing the game.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
That happens. Yeah. But I would be remiss if I did not add and insert that there are people who are speaking the straight truth that are uncompromised.
Okay.
And are still very popular. The question is, who are they? Who do you know that is without compromise and still popular? Name them.
Right.
Like the old folks used to say, now that's a question for your behind.
True. Oh, they got to
who is uncompromising in their disposition,
uncompromising,
and has maintained popularity. Who do you know that's speaking the truth?
Uncompromised. Yeah, good one.
What's going on, Seth? I got one for you.
You got one?
You. Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, listen, guys, I agree with you. Dave Chappelle speaks his truth.
You going R2D2
Wait, yeah, back up. You said Dave Chappelle is.
Yeah, he'll be back. Yeah, you sound like you like 10 feet underwater though.
Yeah, you're drowning. Because I was waiting for that.
Like you hanging on by one bar. Look at the smile. Look, I would take this moment to clown my pastor real quick. Don't he kind of look like Red Fox right there? Hey, if any of y'all think he kind of look like Red Fox right there, please put it in the comments. I want to look on his face when he read. He do kind of look like Red Fox.
Okay, I think hold on. He's unfreezing. He's coming back. All right, so he says. So yes, as he said, yes. Yes, there are popular TikTokers, and if they go into the neighborhood Walmart, no one would know them. Thank you, Dwayne. Thought my phone was tripping. I say, Rich, I want went live with someone with UK from the UK today. They said it's 0 degrees over there. Yeah, you can keep that. You can
Oh,
keep that.
that's bloody cold.
That said Dave Chappelle speaks truth. The way she said, "Oh my God, she does." Oh, the way cold roast. It's what we do when you freeze up. I've heard them
Look,
roasting me, and I could.
look, I done got they done sent me pictures of my mouth being up like this.
That's what we do. That's what we do. Um, yeah. Dave Chappelle is okay.
But his truth is
What
uncompromised.
screen were you in? Oh, sorry. I got my child in here because I can't. Yeah, he right here.
Yeah.
But anyway,
No, his truth is uncompromised, and he speaks it like that. There's no in between. It's no gray area when he speaks.
Right.
It's you got to be a dummy not to understand exactly what he's saying, and
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
if anything gaining popularity.
Yeah, no, that's my son yelling at her. No, she's fine this time. It's him. But he, I mean, yeah, he has, and but it's I don't know. It's crazy how. I mean, I guess because he walked away from that money. I think that's what did it. Because he was just regular comedian with
Oh,
a show.
it made him iconic, but
Right.
his it's what his show did though.
Yeah.
And so much popularity that they wanted some creative control, and he didn't want $50
Right.
million wasn't worth that. So
Right.
when he walked away, you know how he's a comedian. We got to realize that part.
Yeah.
Not the actor and all that. He was only acting because he was a comedian.
Right.
So
Right.
when he walked away from that, comedians don't come back from that. You see
Yeah.
what happened
Yeah,
to
that's
Cat
true, too.
Williams. I mean,
You're
Cat
right.
Williams is one of the funniest dudes ever walked the planet. But
Yeah.
is Cat Williams selling out like major venues? He ain't working, but is he selling out major venues like he did before they say he
Yeah.
went crazy?
Yeah. But he was smacking people. Like I don't. Cat was going. He went way off. I mean, I get it. Things happen. Like Martin Lawrence. When he got naked with the gun. When he was I think it was cocaine or something. Oh, but yeah, so I mean well, Dave Chappelle is different because he walked away. That was like he did a protest kind of move, like, yo, it's not worth it. I'm not selling my soul. Because that's basically, he was just like, yo, there's a difference between being laughing with or being laughed at.
And I'm gonna tell you another thing that he said. And Ashley, yes, I'm a huge Dave Chappelle fan, but Dave Chappelle said that he was like he always struggled with responsibility. So
Right.
to the question that you're asking,
Right.
he personally said I struggle with responsibility. He was like, I want to show stuff,
Right.
I want you to laugh, but I
Right.
want you to see how real what you're
Right.
laughing at is.
Right.
And he was like, the day that he walked out, he
Right.
said they were doing a sketch. One of his sketches was being
Mhm.
read,
Right.
and he was like, they laughed at it incredibly hard.
Right. That's right. He said, yeah, I remember
And he
saying
was
that.
like, I really know how to feel about it.
Right.
And I walked out and I flew to South Africa.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
so like his choice,
Right.
what his truth is,
Right.
he hasn't deviated from truth from the time I watched Half Baked until I saw him on the David Letterman little thing that Dave Letterman does now.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's spoken his truth. He's done it socially responsible, ethnically responsible, and then he doesn't carry himself as a big deal, but he knows he carries some weight.
Right. Right.
Just like when he made the joke, he was like on 9/11, he was like, "Why, Ja Rule, what do I want to hear Ja telling me about terrorists just took down the Twin Towers?" He was like, "That's stupid."
Right.
I mean, so I get it, but I'm just saying somebody who's true to them, don't deviate from their truth,
Right.
but yet remains populated. He's one of the people that kind of fits that boat.
True. So McNair, you asking what impact has he made? Is that the question? And we're gonna let that marinate real quick. And Pastor, I think, is back in the building. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come right back. Make sure tonight after Solomon's Temple at 8:30, Eastern Standard. We have the Sisters of Legacy. Um, it is going to be an amazing conversation as always. As I my way up into the ad, there we go. Let's get it. If y'all can see Dwayne, because I can see him, Pastor Ken. He is a fool. All right. All right. Pastor, Pastor.
He's looking away. He was looking away.
Oh, all right. So I mean, as far as I believe he has spoken his truth. I mean, and he's been pushing some social, awareness. He's been pushing the envelope. He was the first one. Well, I won't say the first, but the whole cancel culture really started revving up with some of the stuff he started saying, and I think exposing the sensitiveness to now especially to what comedians say. And then he came back with another special, basically making it worse. Like, I don't care. This is how I feel.
It's just the truth.
So I get it.
Like he, but that's one of the things. Like social justice, he's one of those who put his money where their mouth is.
Right.
Because he doesn't bite his tongue. And I'll give you an example. John Crawford killed. He was killed in Ohio, right?
Right.
And here's the crazy story. Dave Chappelle tells the story.
Yeah.
And in the story, there's the same officer that what's going on? The same guy who kills John Crawford, the same officer pulls Dave Chappelle over a week before. Right. And Dave Chappelle was like, "Hey, I'm a little nervous, 10-2." Right. And he was like, the guy was like, "Oh, I know who you are, Dave Chappelle."
Right.
And he was like, "See, the difference is I was rich."
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "This guy's in Walmart buying his son a BB gun, and somebody decides to call the cops on him." And the cops walk in and they just shoot the guy. Don't even ask no questions. He was like, "It's the same cop that pulled me over, the same cop that shot this kid."
Right.
So he puts it out, and then he tells another story about him being heckled in New York.
Right.
When he was talking about what's the guy? Eric Garner was that guy killed in Staten Island.
Uh-huh.
And that it was maybe not heckled, but it was a person making a privileged comment.
Right.
And he took the busy time out of his day.
Yeah.
Said to explain to her the statistical facts and everything else. And then after the show, he pulled her in and he explained to her, he was like, "Well, see, maybe before you didn't understand, maybe you, that's why I told you, that's why I invited you back here."
Right.
And and the impact that he made was she looked at him and was like, "I never knew this. I never saw it, but I promise you I'll never be that way again." Right. And he said, then I give her a hug. He was like, "Why did I give her a hug? Because now she's a friend. Now she's responsible to take what she knows and to pass that on to somebody that may never come to a Dave Chappelle show."
Right. Pass it in a different room.
You got AT&T too?
Man, I don't know what's going on over here, man.
Oh man. So what's your opinion about Dave Chappelle? Because that's where we start. Well, when you
No, I
dropped
think
off.
Cole called it. I was just saying that Dave Chappelle spoke his truth,
Right.
and his truth is popular. You know, Dave Chappelle is one of the smartest, most intelligent brothers on the comedic circuit,
Right.
and he has a keen sense of discernment,
Right.
right, in how he expresses his comedic genius,
Right.
and that's popularity. And I think what happens with Dave Chappelle is he has a distinct advantage of sliding his truths into his comedy,
Right. Right.
right? Because Dave Chappelle will never run for political office.
Right.
Dave Chappelle is an entertainer
Right. Right.
without walls.
Right.
That's what he is.
Yeah.
And so I agree that Dave Chappelle speaks his truth. The
Right.
challenge with the way that he presents it is that most people continue to keep it in the category of comedy,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Good.
Right.
Nobody's going to take Dave Chappelle's position to Washington.
Right.
That's the challenge, right? And so he's able to get away with that stuff. And think about it.
True.
You know, Dave Chappelle used to be on the national circuit. Now what does he do? Now he's in people's backyards.
Right.
He controls
Right.
his delivery. You know,
Right. Right.
So
True.
I love him as a person. I just think that that's a unique slot that he fits in.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Absolutely.
But definitely he speaks his truth and he's popular.
Right.
But you know, people take his truths to the comedy factory.
Right.
And Dave Chappelle's truth stays on stage. It's like going to Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Right. You're right. You're right. He just makes you
But
think.
I like what you said though, Pastor, because you bring out a poignant point. You said that people keep the nuggets that he dropped classified as comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where our responsibility comes in as people. Because yes, it's funny. But if you, I mean, I find it hard for any logical person to watch anything Dave Chappelle has done from the Chappelle Show forward and be able to ignore how real it is that way in real life.
Right.
Because the Chappelle Show, it was so funny. Before we got on this morning, you said you only preach about what you lived.
Yeah.
And I think about anything funny. Well, most of the funny stuff that I've said in my life, I could be funny sometimes. I ain't always, but most stuff that's funny in my life is from people that I know. So it's about the fat preacher when he preaching and he starts tuning up and the can start going and he got one leg straight and he only bend one leg. When he get that rock, he only bend that one leg.
All right.
I only talk about that fat preacher because fat preacher that is one of the greatest men I've ever met in my life. So I can laugh about the things that I remember because he was so impactful to me.
Right.
And it's a travesty that people can take what gold and cast it off as something else.
Yeah.
Just because of the impact it could have, because he from the blind Clayton Bigsby, who was the black rape supremacist, or from when Keeping It Real goes wrong. Right. I mean, he's been telling us what we all say every day anyway. He just made it funny.
Right.
And people dismiss it because it's funny.
Right.
It's a travesty.
Right. It's the category that is placed in. And you're right. Like, I guess if he was to speak in a different space where his serious words were taken to heart, where he can interweave it with comedic moments. You know, like some preachers can, they preach, but they have comedic moments,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think, the impact will resonate different. The impact would be different. Oh, Cole said, Dave Chappelle special 846 was a man who was cocaine for 20 minutes. Yeah, but he's such a master storyteller. He was able to excellently weave humor into his commentary. I found myself at the end of that video laughing and clapping at the same time. Truth. He said Cole Johnson 846 was great. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, that was a real moment right there. That was a real moment, you know. And at first I was like, is there gonna be any comedy? Because he was hard from the beginning. I was like, let me change my perspective of what I'm watching, you know. And then towards the end, when he talked about Candace Owens and things like that, and yeah, that was funny. Let's see, Clayton Bigsby, the Black Ku Klux Klan Man, was one of the most thought-provoking comedy skits I ever saw. Yeah, yes, indeed.
Look, Dave Chappelle. I'm gonna tell you what Dave Chappelle did and does that makes his comedy masterful. Kind of like Cole and you said, both alluded to. You watch Mary Poppins growing up, right? You in my age group. You watch Mary Poppins.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that song that Mary Poppins used to sing? A spoonful of sugar, medicine go down.
Right.
Look, that's what look. Laughter will make a whole lot of things easy to take. Jamie Foxx he tells a story about Suge Knight. And Suge Knight was literally robbing as they came into an event. And then they said Suge at the door at Jamie's party. And Jamie was like, nah, I don't know if you can let him in. So Jamie left, he ducked out. But Jamie started telling this story about Suge Knight. And he was like, I spent like 40 minutes talking to him. It was like, who told you I said you couldn't come in? the white man? Come on, Suge, you gonna let the white man come between me and you? And long story short, he made Suge laugh, and he was like, Suge gave him a pass, and he was like, yeah, I said, and it's funny now. He was like, but it was real. He was like, I got a pass from Suge. He was like, that wasn't happening. That's basically what happens.
Right.
Almost, if you can make a laugh, you can say almost anything you want to say.
It was stuck in place. I just moved it.
All right. Oh, so
next episode of Schooling at Home.
All right. Oh, so that I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Would you say, okay, since we're on comedians, how do you guys what do you guys think of Chris Rock? Because would you say he's kind of in that same kind of lane? I mean, I know he doesn't go in as hard as Chappelle has been, but what do you think of Chris Rock?
I think Dave Chappelle might have got some cues from Chris. Chris is bigger than what Chris was, but Chris still had a little bit of that N-word in him. He still had a little bit of it in him. And yeah, like you look at the difference between Chris Rock and Kevin Hart. Right. Kevin Hart, he danced, he does his thing. I ain't gonna hate on him. Right. But he played the game.
Right.
Chris Rock got funny and didn't have to play the game as much.
Right.
Dave Chappelle said, screw the game, I'm my own.
Gotcha. So how do you feel about Chris Rock, Pastor?
I mean, I love him as an entertainer, but you got to remember that Chris Rock, I think Chris Rock made his money first.
Okay. Right.
Because I think he started out self-deprecating. He was the joke.
Yeah.
You know, and then he kind of shifted and made the system a joke.
Okay.
But by the time Chris Rock shifted, he had made his money and made his impact. You know, it's hard to tick people off when you start out as a crackhead on the screen.
Right.
Yeah, Pookie ain't making nobody mad.
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
Here, 8-ball Pookie.
Right. Right.
So,
let's see.
And I don't take anything away from it. Like, I don't want anybody taking this as a negative connotation. The reality is this is the world we live in.
Right.
You know, there's a reason why people get frustrated with being typecast.
Right.
You know, you play the same kind of role all the time because how you start is how people see you.
Right.
You know, and it doesn't matter how much truth you speak. if they're not taking you serious.
Right.
When it comes time
True.
to have these real meetings, they're not inviting Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock to the table,
Right.
asking what they think.
Right. That's
Remember,
true.
like I said about Dave Chappelle, they keep all of that stuff on stage.
Comedy. That's true. That's true. All right.
What do you think about Michael Eric Dyson?
Ooh.
Is he speaking truth or is he playing a game?
I don't know. Like I believe he speaks truth, but I don't feel like, I don't know if it's the cause. Oh, okay, he's doing. There you go. Let's go. All right. Let's switch you out. Hey, so there you go. We got you on the computer. If you can see that. Okay, so
he can't hear you. Yeah.
He can't hear you yet.
But he's moving.
Yeah.
He's smiling.
He's smiling.
Oh,
Oh,
you guys can hear me?
Now
yes.
we can.
Okay.
I know a little bit about. I feel like he sloganizes. He does the big word thing. But as far as I haven't seen a lot of impact other than books, and I know he does a lot of talk shows and things of that nature. But he doesn't come off as I won't say not true, just I guess not the most transparent. I guess that's the best way to put it. And that's just from my perspective.
Well, I don't know outside of his, and I'm not saying rhetoric in a negative tone. Outside of his rhetoric, I don't know him personally. I don't know a lot about his personal life, so it's hard for me to say whether there's a lot of integrity in it or not. But intellectually speaking, I'm with Cole. He is intellectually entertaining, and that is an aspect of what we need. But he's not. I put it like this. It's an old saying: "Those that can't do, teach."
Right.
And I think that since I don't see him doing the work, but he's definitely presenting the information and the methods on how to do the work.
Right.
So I think for me, what I on the surface say about him is those that can't do, teach.
Right. Right. Because
go back to AD's question. Does he or does he not speak truth, and does he or does he not maintain popularity?
That's a good one, because I don't know how popular he really is. Like, he's known, but I don't know how popular he is. If that makes sense, like
his calendar stays full.
Yeah.
No, he's popular. He just runs on a different scale of a different type of popularity.
Right.
Like
right.
you got celebrity popular, and then you got life popular.
Right. Like the intellectual was it circuit?
Like Roland. I mean, was it?
Yeah, Roland Martin.
Yeah. He's another one of those. I'll tell you who I'll definitely say speaks truth, which comes off when you listen to it as a lot of truth. Umar Johnson, but he's backpedaled and beat himself up, and
he's a rough one.
And,
there you go.
And integrity is not.
He got some great highlights, and then you got some stuff. He's
the example. He's one of the examples that I think we're talking about.
Right.
Like all the money you collected with the school.
But that's an emotional thing with Umar. He comes off as angry. He comes off which makes him appear tainted. He's more interested in the victory than truth.
Right. Because there's a lot of things he says that I rock with, and then there's some things that comes out of his mouth. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
You too smart to say this, and this equals this.
All right. Yeah.
But somebody gonna hear all the other stuff you just said, and they just like, oh yeah, I ain't never think about that before.
Pride is an amazing thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think, and I mean, you know, we could probably have a whole show about that one. Like, you know, starting off and being intellectual and being able to move a crowd and being able to speak truth, and then turning into an entertainer. You know, like being able to, you know, to like you said, intellectually being entertaining and no longer speaking truth, but just trying to say things that are profound. You know,
But I'll tell you something, man. When you think about all the people we've named, look at the level of talent
right
we have in our community.
Right.
Yes. When you consider the people we just named, just off the cuff, these are just the ones we know.
Right.
I know people that have never been on national circuit. They're some of the most truth-telling, intelligent, integrity-driven people that are on the planet, and you'll never see them on national TV because the system is afraid of them.
It's a, people, media's afraid of them.
Yeah, it's afraid of them. Right? It validates the systemic oppression that exists in our world today, because certain folks they just do not want on camera.
Is he breaking up for me, or is he breaking up for everybody?
It's for everybody.
Okay.
This is like the best worst show we got.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because I'm listening. I'm trying to hang on to every little word, try to make sure I hear it just right.
So we're gonna go because we AT&T Charter, and I think he has Comcast is not working. You know, I'm gonna say it again: AT&T, Comcast, and Charter.
Big ups to Charter, Comcast in the building.
It's not working because we're all on three different systems. All right.
So but I'm still confused because I'm waiting for my 1,000 megabytes a second to kick in on this fiber network that they came and rewire this house with. I think I just got a couple more. I think I got a couple more grades off of that one. So look, that one new. That one right there new.
So in the end, we're gonna say this edition of Brothers of Legacy is brought to you by Google Fi. Go get you some Google. Oh man! All right, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here because it's falling apart on me. But it's right. It's national interruption, right? Right. Oh man, love you, Cole. So thank you, gentlemen. AT&T, darn you.
And don't forget Comcast. Xfinity is a booger too.
Right. And hold on. And Charter. Charter.
Yeah.
Charter.
Hey, look, see, look, let me give y'all some tidbits. What y'all don't understand is this is another way for the man to keep his foot on your neck.
That's right. Break it down, brother.
Who do you think owns Comcast?
Boom.
You think Ted Turner? You think Ted Turner and CNN and Fox didn't have coffee together this morning? Said these brothers of legacy out here in the street exposing stuff, making stuff visible out here.
Break it down,
here.
brother.
Do you hear me? We got to interrupt their whole vibe this morning. The whole vibe. We got to interrupt it. No more nugget dropping from the pastor. AD, you ain't motivating nobody today.
They holding down the truth, man. They oppressing the truth, brother.
Holding the staff.
I rebuke Xfinity. I rebuke Charter.
In the name.
Rebuke AT&T.
In the name.
Right. In the name. I need. Listen.
In the name of communication.
I'm gonna take it to another notch. I need everybody to share this right now. Share this.
See this.
Share this to everybody.
This is what they're doing.
Don't let us oppress us. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. See you guys tomorrow. Same place, same channel. Listen, Cheryl, if you follow me on Periscope, I'll share out for Sisters of Legacy, and I'm gonna ratify that coming in January. We're gonna have one channel, one space for everything. So you need to look out for that. All right, so you guys take care, be blessed, keep pushing, keep growing. Know that we love you, but God loves you more. Continue to wear the mask, stay safe, stay 6 feet,
and we see you guys in the AM. I didn't want to catch that morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody?
That was horrible.
Hold on. Wait, 5G, aka COVID spread. That's right. It's going down.
For real.